Hey everybody, it's been a while since I did a van build video. As you can see by some of the stuff in here, I have still been working on my van and making good progress. I just haven't gotten those videos out or not recorded some of the stuff because I do a little here and a little there. Back when I was a kid, there was a movie. I wasn't a big TV person, but there was a movie called, it was James Bond, Never Say Never. Well, I probably said I'd never do one of these videos, and here I am. So I probably should listen to that movie title. Never seen the movie, but I remember the movie title. So this is going to be my 5 mistakes that I've made doing this van build so far. All of them could be fixed. Some of them cost more than others to fix. Some of them are no big deal. So we're going to start with number 5. Number 5, and of course, yes, I did write these down because I wanted to do my top 5, not my top 10, not my top 20, because there's more than 5. So number 5, solar cutoff. There's a, great, fly just came in here and flew by. So solar cutoff. Whenever you you have to disconnect your battery for any reason. If you don't disconnect your solar coming in, it actually, some say it wrecks your solar controller. Of course, I forgot to disconnect my solar panels one time, and I'm disconnecting my battery, and I heard this big pop. Thought I ruined my solar controller. Disconnected from the battery, got everything hooked back up, and it's been working since. So it might not ruin it, but it definitely trips it. So you probably, there's got to be something in there that's sensing it and tripping so you don't ruin it, but it's probably not good for it. So I do plan on putting this in. I have not yet, but a solar cutoff basically looks like a breaker, but by code, you're supposed to shut off the negative and the positive, which is the only time I've ever actually seen that happen before, and I don't know the reason for that. I just know that that's a code. When you buy a solar cutoff, it looks like a double pole. So when you flip it, it shuts both off. That was number 5. It's minor. I mean, it's probably like $40. I didn't spend any money extra to find out I needed that one. So that's why that's number 5. Minor. Just something I skipped to save a little bit of money. Decided now I want it because I climb up my roof every time and turn off the solar. Unhook the solar, excuse me. Number 4. Now this is a big one, but yet minor to fix. Fans. I'm going to go with ventilation. We're going to call this ventilation. So I went with a Maxair fan. I got the cheaper one that you have to raise yourself, which is no big deal because I never actually close it. I leave it open all the time. But I don't have the remote control, and I can only do exhaust, which probably normally you'd always just do exhaust for the front. I have it up front. But if I redid this again, and I don't know how I don't know how I'm going to actually fix yet, I would have put another one in the back with intake, so you have the circulation. Right now, I cracked that back door, and that's the only way I get that circulation through here that I'm looking for. I bought a vent to put in the back door. I've looked at different portholes, and I'm probably going to put in like some type of window in the bottom of the door, which I was trying to avoid. Because of my racks and my solar panels, I have not found a fan small enough to go up there that will keep the rain out and actually do intake. Maybe one that didn't do anything would be fine because that would cause a suction and rotate it. But I don't want to put another hole in my roof to find that out. So I figured I'll probably put some type of vent in the back door. Like I said, I bought a dryer vent, but it's kind of cheesy. So I don't think I'm going to go with that. And I haven't figured out what I'm going to fix yet. But I would definitely, even on a small van, go with 2 fans. Buy maybe, you don't have to buy 2 Maxair fans. They sell these like little tiny exhaust ones. Use that for the exhaust and do a Max Air, one that does intake or something. Definitely got to get that ventilation going through. And like I said, included that when I said fans, I bought the cheaper, I don't remember what brand this was. They make like a $300 fan, this nice metal one that points every which way, and that one was like $90. I would have spent the extra $200 because that one it's not worth it. It's not worth the 80 bucks. Just not. It's the same company that makes it. Chrome has it, and I think he did the same thing too. I think I remember watching one of his videos after I bought that one, and him saying that he bought a cheaper one first and then had bought a more expensive one. It just doesn't cut it. It doesn't get any breeze through here. So that I would definitely have changed all the fans around a little bit in this van. Number 3. Now this one cost me about $200. $200 probably plus, about $250 more than it should have. The fridge. Didn't want a fridge because I didn't want to spend $550. That's what that Iceco fridge cost. That's the smaller one. I might have gone with a bigger one because it's the same. But I didn't plan on putting it there when I bought it. It's just a little bit bigger, maybe like, I think that's a 40. It goes up to 50 or something like that. I bought a lifetime cooler. It's Walmart's version of a Yeti. I bought their big one. I think it's like a 58 quart or 55 quart. It was they screwed up, so they gave it to me for $100, but they're usually like $110. So I bought that. It was huge. It was in one of my couple of my videos. I used it for dry goods because like a week later I went out and bought the smaller one, the 20 whatever size. Didn't have a drain for the ice. Everything would be floating. It would keep the ice good for like a day or two, but after like the third day, everything would be floating. Everything would be wet. Your peppers would be like, everything would be swelling up with water. And it just, the ice thing just sucked, going to buy the ice. And ice gets expensive in some stores. I bought a bag today because I needed it for my work car. I picked up all my groceries and put it in a cooler. And it was like $5 for a bag of ice. So ice can get expensive too. Now, I know people that have done it in vans for years and years and years with just a cooler. Best thing I bought right there, fridge. I did add a battery because I was nervous that one battery wouldn't do it. I only had a 100 amp battery. More in the winter time than anything, because if you lose power, you lose your heat, because I have a diesel heater. So I would go with a fridge right off the bat. Take my word for it. Save up your money. Buy a cheap cooler to get you by till you can afford a fridge if you can't afford it. It is well worth it. Love it. And number 2 happens to be what I'm sitting on right now. Bed height. I think I just spit when I do that. Bed height. I built this bed as low as possible so I had plenty of room. And look at all the room I ended up. Even when I got this, I haven't put my ceiling in. When I put it in, even if I went with 2x4s, I'm still have enough room. What I failed to think about was putting stuff underneath the bed. The height under the bed. Now, you don't need a huge amount, but I definitely recommend getting 12 to 13 inches down there. Figure out what totes you want to stick under your bed before you build your bed, and build it high enough for those totes, but high enough to sit on. If you have a high top, you don't have to worry really about this. I did. I wanted to be able to sit comfortably on my bed, which I do, but I could have been another inch up and been fine. But I had a hard time finding totes to fit underneath there. Now, I lost a ton of space under my bed because the place I had to place my diesel heater, my batteries, all my electronics are in my garage. So I don't have much room. I found 3 totes that barely, it was almost like I designed the bed to fit on these things, but they just barely fit in there. And I picked the totes based on the height of the bed. Every tote that I found would not fit underneath this bed by half an inch, some an inch, some a quarter of an inch, some, but I found these 3 totes I just happened upon in Walmart that would, it almost scrapes the top. That's that close. So I did figure out something, got enough to get all my stuff in there. Right now it's just full of stuff that I'm using to build the van, but eventually it'll probably be hiking gear or whatever. So that was number 2. Number 1, why I'm making this video right now in the heat of the day, because I'm taking off for the weekend and I'm waiting for FedEx to deliver it. A DC to DC charger. I went with I always forget what the automatic charging relay, or ACR. Now, this is a good product. It works like it said it was going to work, but this was like $90, right? Did it to save money. Once again, DC to DC charger I just picked up. I did get a discount a little bit, 10% or 20% off. Renogy's doing this little spin the wheel thing, and I got a coupon. So I got a little bit cheaper, but I got the 40 amp. They'd make them 20, 40, and I think they have a 50 or 60. Now that one, the 50 or 60 is like $200 and something. I didn't want one that powerful. I got the I decided to split it down the middle. I got the 40, and it was like $150 before I got the discount, so maybe like $130. So it was about, 40, $50 more than this. But here's the catch. For this, because of my alternator, I had to run 1/aught wire all the way back. It cost me $100. Needed two 150 amp fuses. Needed to modify my battery terminal, which I'm going to have to do for this anyway, so I guess that's not an extra cost. And I have a small smart alternator. So this didn't exactly work well. It kind of worked, but didn't really work, so I put a switch on it. So I spent more money to put a switch so I could turn it on, turn it off. And further, as I researched after I had this into the smart alternator, how to deal with it, I found, well, first of all, all the solutions dealing with smart alternator kind of suck. Cut wires, break stuff, stuff like that. Nothing really concrete. So in my research to do this, I found out that this just sends 14 volts all the time, whether they're full or not, which my solar kicks. I got 200 watts of solar on this. And when I had this fridge not on eco and fans running, lights, and I was still positive on my watts. So my batteries get charged up every day. Wintertime might be another story, but right now in the summer, I can blow through batteries at night, and during the day, I have a surplus all day long. Solar controller has 3 charge modes. My battery charger hooks up to AC, has 3 charge modes. It's float, boost, and something. I can't remember the third one. The DC to DC charger has that same 3-phase charging. So when your batteries are fully charged, it would drop it down to, I think that's float. It's basically like a little trickle charge. So unlike this, we'll just keep on feeding it that 14 volts or whatever your alternator puts out. So it supposedly reduces the lifetime of your house batteries. Now, I've got $500 into AGM batteries. You buy a lithium that's 200 amps or whatever, you're talking $1,000. You don't want to ruin $1,000 over $50. So this is my number one mistake right here. I don't think it equaled the cooler catastrophe, but on a side note, I sold one of the coolers today for $70, and I have the other one listed, so I might kind of break even on the fridge one. But this was a catastrophe. So yeah, so today, because you have to bring, so I'm going to use my 1/aught wire, save that. Now I'm leaving that hooked up to my battery, so if I ever have to jump my front battery, I can just turn that switch on. So before the switch, I'll pull a 4-gauge wire, go to my battery, my DC to DC charger. This I'm going to have to bring back from the battery negative to the charger, hook the charger up. I'm waiting for the charger, the wire, and the terminals already came, and that's my plan this weekend. So anyways, my top 5 things that I've already screwed up. Now I'm sure there'll be multiple top 5 lists coming your way, because this is definitely a learning curve. Definitely, no matter how much research you do, you guess you have to make mistakes for yourself. So anyways, I hope this was useful. I hope somebody watches this and figures out something to do something differently and saves you some money. That's the whole reason I'm doing this video, because I wish I watched a video like this. I will see you guys out there. Look forward to doing more van videos. Right now I'm working on my Baker series, so I'm kind of getting behind on that stuff. But anyways, catch you out there. This is Anthony. Over and out.